We are on.
It's happening Insta.
We're on Insta.
Facebook is a bit slower than you.
Don't say that. They'll probably block us.
That's right.
Hello, world.
What's happening?
Just standard line. I'm Bianca, the Feel Good Mama, helping women around the world who want more good in their life with health, mindset, and meaningful income. And this is my darling husband, Anthony. And together we have Lockdown with the Loshies every Tuesday night. And what the best part is that it's live, streaming to Facebook, Instagram, and everyone out in the world. So it will be recorded for a podcast on Spotify and iTunes, which you can tune into at any time, which is cool. But tonight we are going to talk about fulfillment. And you're probably wondering why I'm sitting in my gorgeous new Mother's Day fluffy robe. And I will explain once we get into the topic. But I might, if I don't die of heat first. Oh, gosh. But fulfillment. We talk about having been through this time of isolation, and here in Victoria, we're starting to see the changes coming out of isolation and really stepping into the next phase. But we can't help but have these discussions around our dinner table, which just sparks so much conversation that we think that, it's really good to share it with you guys. And fulfillment was a topic that came up because I got this on Mother's Day, and we were sitting at the dinner table and I was wearing it and I was like, oh yeah, it's lovely. And you mentioned something about this. Okay, so he's gone on this baking journey.
Yeah, I was talking about sourdough bread. So
yeah.
just bear with us with a moment. For a moment, so we can talk about the story, because then it leads into the conversation for tonight.
There's a point.
Yeah. So, I was looking up on YouTube how to make bread, and then I wanted to have a fermented bread or some kind of sprouted bread. I didn't want the girls just eating any sort of bread, so I'm like, all right, I'm going to try to start making it myself. And then you go on this little journey of how to make sourdough starter, and then then I'm looking at it like it's my baby, and seeing it rise and doing all this stuff. And then the point of it was I couldn't get the starter to work, and it took me a week and a half to get the starter right. And then when I got it right, I made this amazing, beautiful sourdough loaf of bread. Came out warm and ready for dinner, for the family. And I sat down and I said to Bianca, I'm like, you know what? I've been a Sparky for 15 years, and this moment right here, making this sourdough bread for my family, for my wife and my kids, gave me more joy and fulfillment than any one of those weeks working as much hours as I worked and brought home as much money as I did.
Yeah.
And I still felt more fulfilled in that one moment. I don't even know what it cost. It wouldn't have been much, but the feeling there was the feeling of fulfillment, the feeling of joy, happiness.
Yeah.
So then it led, and then I think she was wearing this, and then she was trying it on.
Yeah, I was trying it on.
And then I said to her, I'm like, it's because it's that those fluffy moments that make you feel good. That's where this.
And I said, hold on a second.
Hold on a second.
When you're fulfilled, you're really in life, you're doing life, and you're in it and you're feeling it, and your whole life is lit up, and it's a certain thing that lights you up from inside. It's not like you walk around like a bloody light bulb. But I was saying that people lead fluffy lives, and it's a general statement, and I'm not targeting this at anyone. It's a general statement that we can fluff through life as much as we like. But when you actually find a purpose that can lead you to feeling fulfillment, you don't want the fluff anymore. And, well, that's personally what I have found. I think I led a life of fluff for about 25 years before I realized what it was that I actually wanted to do that filled the heart cup up. That saying what fills your heart cup? That's fulfillment. What makes you feel complete? What makes you feel whole? And for me, I was just saying this earlier, actually, that I'd always felt cracker, a light bulb. I always felt that I was in the right path. So at school, I loved legal, but if I'm being honest, I was really lazy. I didn't apply myself as much as I probably should have through the VCE time. I didn't get the mark I wanted, but I still applied for criminal justice and psychology. And it's funny. Hi. I love those
Hey, what's going on?
guys from Rye. Kiki Wellness, everyone in the house.
If you're ever in right,
Oh my
get down
God.
to Kiki Wellness.
Go there.
Unbelievable.
Love it. For a cryofacial, or you can have anything you want there, but just look them up. They're great for health purposes. Anyway, so I was talking about when I was at school, I loved legal but never got into that. So anyway, I put myself down for criminal justice and psychology, and I got into both. But I wondered why I didn't choose psychology.
We spoke about this a lot when you were younger.
Yeah, I wonder why I never chose that. And then I knew why I didn't choose it, because I almost just passed the exam when I chose criminal justice. I did that, and one of my subjects was psychology, and I hated it. Like, I hated it. But intuitively, I knew that didn't fill me up. The legal side did. I was lazy, and I didn't do a law degree. Wish I did, but I didn't. But I just knew that that's where I wanted to go. I enjoyed it so much that going into community corrections, felt good at that time. And then serving the people and doing what I loved, which was helping others, felt good at the time. But I didn't feel this sense of fulfillment that I got once I moved into this. I'm actually servicing people. I'm actually giving to other people and contributing to other people's lives. And it's not always for money. It's actually just because that's who I am. And it's when I figured out that just by being who I am and doing what I love, what lights me up like a light bulb, makes me feel fulfilled.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you...
And it's coming off now.
We're getting steamy. She asked for a new one for Mother's Day, so it was a good pick.
Yep.
So I'm glad Bianca started off by saying that she did the other side of fulfillment for 20-something years.
Yeah, let's talk about that. What does that look like, not being fulfilled?
Well,
or not feeling fulfilled?
Well, I guess the point that I'm trying to make is...
The only person that judges that is you.
Of course. But the other side, so once you get to this point of, fulfillment, joy, happiness, bliss, whatever lights you up, like Bianca's saying, you can only get to that point after you've gone through your stuff. So Bianca's saying in the materialized world or the materialized gain of things, because we're all led down this path of believing if you have the next iPhone, it's all going to be sweet. If you update your car...
Yes, use Waz's example.
Exactly. Yeah. So Kiki Wellness. So when the guy that I met that Bianca's talking about from Rye.
Oh, guys. Maybe.
So when I rocked up there, I was like, this was actually at the start of the year in Jan.
This is so fitting.
This is perfectly fitting because I'm almost so it's the start of the year. It's 2020, and this is why we're talking real right now because I got made redundant 5 or 6 weeks ago. And been there for 8 years, and it was a secure job, but I'm telling you, there was no joy or fulfillment. I went through my own dark patches throughout that whole time, and I was struggling to see the light. 2020, so every time a new year hits, you get that, what's new, what can possibly be different, and it was looking like, they were going to get rid of us anyway. So I actually said to Woz, I want to start something. I don't know what it is. It might be a podcast. That was when we spoke about the podcast. And
he almost saw a reflection of himself.
That's it. So anyway, point to the story. Was a Sparky, and he put everything on the line. Him and his wife, they disconnected from everything. I think it went to Bali.
Is it 4 kids?
4 kids.
Yes.
3 or 4. I think it's 4. 4. Kiki. Yeah. And went to Bali, sorted worked through their stuff, came back with the vision for Kiki Wellness, which is like, full encompassing health wellness center.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And he was like, you can do it. Like he gave me the courage to like say you can do it. When I came back, I said to Bianca, like I was almost in tears back there because I was like asking for this sign of what could this possibly be.
Yeah. Rachel, she's in the same position all the way over in the US.
Yeah. Well,
like,
and what
great job, but her heart is somewhere else. And she's got an amazing podcast, Hustle versus Flow, and she talks about corporate women and how, and she's a mother as well, but how, corporate women and how they've got this hustle about them and all this power and, and like the flow of life. But then there's the flow that she wants to feel, which is more ease versus the of the hustle. So I think it's a great topic to really.
And I'm glad that we're getting all this interaction because we're making a point here of how important this is.
Yeah.
We can all get stuck in the rut. We can all get stuck on I call them golden handcuffs.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It was like you had something and it was like you knew that you wanted more. You knew you wanted something different.
Yeah.
And you were just like, whatever it was, if it was fear, if it was comfort, it can be comfort. Maybe you're not even scared, or maybe you are a little bit scared in the background, but maybe it's comfort. You're like, well, I'm going to have to go through some kind of discomfort to then get to where I want to be.
The pain.
The pain.
And the pain you're saying today, it's a sign for redirection. Like,
so
you need a new direction. Pain
in the body, pain in your circumstances, all of this pain. One of the guys that I listen to, Paul Check, he calls pain, like he calls it the pain teacher. Pain is there to teach us. It is there to redirect us. It is there to move us in a direction that is congruent with us.
Yep.
Like, the internal us. Something that's, either us or something that's bigger than us. If that makes sense.
And then you've got Was here on the other hand that's saying, be grateful for what you have, like being told on a constant basis. Just be grateful for what you've got. You get paid well, But there's Zig Ziglar line, and I used to say this to you all the time, like your job right now is serving you, like it's paying you. Be grateful for the money that's coming in, but it's not you. Like there's more to you than this. There is something out there waiting for you. You just need to stick to this for now. It's temporary whilst you figure out what that calling, that fulfillment, that purpose really is. And this is where I think having a purpose is so congruent to having fulfillment, because with the purpose, it's easier to make decisions once you know what the direction that you're heading in and what you want to achieve. So if you're still working in a current job and you don't want to be there, like you knew that.
Yeah.
So you actually you became resourceful, you became proactive, and you started looking at other options. What lit him up? And you can give your own examples, Anth, about what you do. But for me, I went on this transformational mindset journey that I never thought I'd be into. Like I used to go to certain psychic fairs and things with my auntie, but I didn't realize that my aunties used to give me crystals as gifts and all this stuff, but then I didn't realize that there was a side to me that wanted to know more about how I can be a better person in general, be that better version, grow from a mindset and personal development perspective. But being given the opportunity, or almost forced to, like the situation I was put in by the universe, really, it was just like, well, hey, if you're not getting my whispers, I'm going to push you over until you actually wake up to make some changes. And that's when I had to question what my why was. Why am I doing what I'm doing? Why am I, what is it that gets me up? What is going to get me out of bed every morning to keep going? And that's where I think a purpose really comes into it, because it can lead so much into your fulfillment and joy and happiness, which is a whole other topic.
And I'm glad you said all those things, because those words were actually ringing in my head. So I know we're speaking about fulfillment, but we actually did touch on, so you've got to understand the flow here of fulfillment, purpose, happiness, joy, all of this, encompassing together. So what I actually said was,
It's overwhelming. Okay?
It's a lot. It's a lot. But the
We're
point that I'm trying to make here,
Yeah.
not trying to go too deep or too far into it, but the point that I'm trying to make here is I can completely speak from personal experience that when you're in that rut, when you're in that feeling space, it's hard to look positively at the future.
Oh, absolutely.
So, but the point is, if you just take a few action steps, and if you can get to a place of like just internal happiness, so like you're happy regardless of what's going on. You're happy regardless of that workplace that you don't want to go to. That isn't a subject to your happiness. Your happiness comes before that. You got to work on your own self before that point. I felt like at least that was for me. So once I started working on the internal part of the happiness and joy, cultivating that inside, sitting with what could potentially be my purpose, what could potentially be something that I was passionate about, what could potentially fulfill me. Internally, it was more about like the happiness and contented self being just happy the way that it was.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It didn't need to be any external transaction to cause my happiness. And the reason I start there, because this is the other part. If you take what we're saying here, and this is all still opinion. Well, we haven't said that tonight, but this is all still opinion. There's no fact about this. This is just our experience and our opinions. So what I wanted to say was, you could take all of what I'm saying and then throw it into the materialized world and then go and chase the goals. Go and chase down the money. Go and chase down the success. Go and chase down the fame. Go and chase down the social media followers. Go and chase down all of these things external to you. But the moment that one of those things goes away, does your joy, happiness, fulfillment go away? Was it just there based upon the external realities? So it's about having yourself centered before you sort of move forward into this path. And let me be clear, you do need to move forward. You do need to take some kind of action. You can't just be sitting back all the time. There's a time to sit back.
So what did you do?
So, for instance, something really simple.
Because this topic, I need you guys to realize he lived this life for so long.
It actually
really affected you.
A lot, seriously.
Like you'd come home and be like, I hate this place. I hate this place. I hate this place.
Like it was bad. It was honestly, I went to some really dark spots. But the point that I'm trying to make here is, this is what I'm saying. So a perfect lead into, so I was in a bad mental state. I was in a bad internal state. So then everything was bad. Work was worse. I came home, it was worse. Everything was a snowball. And it was like the step that I needed to take, I was like not taking it because I'm just like, well...
You were scared?
Yeah, scared. Well, see, but scared of what? So once I actually worked out, so I got to this point where like what fulfilled me, what brought me joy was yoga. Every time I heard the word, every time I saw a freaking downward dog, I was just in bliss. I just love yoga, everything about it. And I tried to, I really wanted to do this yoga course with Gabor up here in Puckle Street. And I really wanted to go there. And then I looked through the stuff and it was like, I needed to have a year of experience. I need to do all these things. And I hadn't worked on my craft long enough to get to that point of profession. And then I got home one day and I was like losing it. And then Bianca's like, why don't you look at something not as extreme? So when you figure me out, I'm just extreme.
Yeah, like he looks at like, oh, this, this high-end program, which is all fine and good. But as a father and as a provider and with the time that he had, he just couldn't invest that time. And I'm like, find something.
So one of the guys that I was working with at the time...
Everything you saw was a downward dog. Not everything. So I'm like, just figure it out.
Yeah, figure it out. This is the other thing. So me talking, but this is the other thing. I felt like voicing it. I was sort of quiet to this a lot of the time. I'm sort of I'm an internal character, so I just, I just internalize it.
Yeah.
But then speaking to people about this, so I spoke to this guy at work, and he said, "Have you heard of the app or the website called Udemy?" I'm like, "Nah." And it's like this app that people put on content, and they're like cheap courses. They're all different types of courses. He did like a programming course or whatever. He's like, "Go on that and see what's on there." So I went on there, and there was like a $100
Yoga course.
8-week yoga course, and it was just like it was something. It was something,
It was a step.
It was a step,
That's the
and
point
then
we're making. It didn't matter what it was.
it doesn't matter where this is going to go in the future. But me taking that step and doing this one thing, so I had a little routine, a little daily routine, and it was something that I could do around work, around wife, 3 kids, around everything that we had. I could do this little thing for 20 minutes every morning or every night.
And when he did that, he still had the same job at the time, still had the same routine with us. It was working because he would get up in the morning earlier, he'd bounce out of bed, and he'd go to work, like he'd do his yoga, he'd go to work, he'd do some extra activities, change it up, come home, but he was happier. And it's all fine and good to say don't do the things that, make you unhappy, because, like Ant, like they're the guys that actually listened and took the leap. But at the end of it, like we spoke the other night, how good was the other night's podcast with Andrula? Like from a psychologist's perspective, what's going to happen if you break the rules? Nothing.
Not much.
Like maybe an income might stop coming in, but you'll find it somewhere else because you're allowing the space to come in for you to receive what it is that you're looking for. But there's what I'm seeing here from Ant, and what I'm trying to say is what he did was backed with desire and faith.
Yeah.
And when you have desire, like a burning desire for something, and it's like, when you put a magnifying glass, the sun burns, whatever science process happens, you get what I mean. Like you put a magnifying glass over something, it focuses on that point and it magnifies it. That's what's happening when you're thinking about, I want to do yoga, I want to do yoga, I want to do yoga. And sometimes you get, sometimes be careful what you wish for, because you just don't know how it's going to pan out.
Yes.
But when there's desire backed by faith, like I know this is going to happen. I don't know how, but I know this is going to happen for me, for us, for whatever your scenario is, then watch out, because it's most likely going to happen. You put your energy into that. Like I saw him switch. I saw him come back. And that's fulfillment. Another thing that popped up, no one did anything great by ever following a rule book. You got to watch our special bonus episode from Sunday. That was just too funny, that part. Like, I love breaking the rules, so I'm all up for that. I was going to say something else. Anyway, living fully. Living fully comes to mind when I think of fulfillment, like fill, and this is a quote by Oprah that really got me, and it's about wealth. And we'll talk about this after I say this quote. But wealth is a tool that gives you choices. 100%, don't deny that. But it can't compensate for a life not fully lived. And once I realized what it was like to live a life, like live fully, I was like, really? Money doesn't mean shit. And I will never forget this one time. You're saying you don't remember, but maybe I can remember because I was experiencing it. Like, it was my way of experiencing this. And I was sitting on the couch one day, and I thought I said it out loud. Maybe I just said it in my head, but we had nothing in our bank account. We were living week to week at this particular time. And I said I couldn't be happier. Like, there was something that switched inside me, and it was like, no dollar figure is going to determine how I should feel. And once I said that, I didn't realize how powerful that was, actually. But like, it really is true.
100%.
And look, we're not discounting that people are going through some really hard times right now. We are not, like, we can say we've been in most of those positions. And although we may not be experiencing it with you at this very moment, we're acknowledging that we get it. And yeah, I just think that money isn't everything, but it's right up there with breathing. So as long as, and we explained this to my daughter yesterday, as long as you have enough for what you need, I don't know, like, money doesn't fulfill me. And that's why when I promoted tonight, I think that's where we first went. We thought if we have more money, then, then we'll feel happy. And then you get the money and it's sitting in your account and you're still like, now what?
Not much has changed.
No. Like, is it really the financial freedom that you're chasing? Is it, for me, to live a wholehearted life? I just want that. I just want that. And that for me is just engaging in a life from a place of worthiness.
And
I am worthy to receive. I am worthy to feel joy. I am worthy to live a life of fulfillment. I am worthy to have fulfillment in my life. I don't know, but that's the path I'm going to.
Yeah.
Call me crazy, but I don't know. People do look at us like you're freaking nuts.
Maybe we're on another planet. But let's just address something. I'm going to go back because I think it's warranted. We're talking about where we're at. So we've been through some dark times, even recently. Like it ebbs and flows. It's life. It's how it works. But we want to acknowledge the reason we're bringing this up, because someone out there right now could be going through this right now with the lack of, or we're talking about money doesn't mean anything and you've got nothing in your bank account. You're freaking out how you're going to pay the mortgage or the rent or put food on the table or any one of those things that could possibly be happening right now. We want to acknowledge that could be happening to any one person, physically, mentally, emotionally, financially. Any one of these things could be happening to someone right now. We want to acknowledge all of these things, but we want to, Bianca was talking about focusing the magnifying glass. We want to focus your awareness around that pain. Remember I said, I heard this today,
pain is a sign for
pain is a sign for a direction shift, a change. Understand that you're there for a reason, and it's to learn and grow. It doesn't always, when you're in it, that is the last thing that you want to hear, but it may be the one thing that you need to hear.
Because you'll look back in a month, 2 months, 6 months, years' time and be like, this is what I learned from that. This is what I learned from that pain. This is what I learned from that experience. This is the lesson. And then you share that with someone else that may be going through the same thing at that particular time in their life. And that's why I truly think that we have the failures or those moments where you're like, could it get any worse? So we hear you and we feel you on all of them, that's for sure. But we're here to say that you can choose not to go through the motions. We know what it's like to go through the motions. But you can go through the motions for a temporary period of time with your eye on the prize, whatever that is for you, whatever lights you up internally. Have that desire, have that burning desire, have that faith, and just keep moving on. Like, keep moving on. Communicate as much as you can with the people around you. The biggest thing I can share with you is once you think you know, or once you feel what it is that you want to make you feel that fulfillment or have that joy and happiness as a sense of progression in your life, then don't look for it. You'll know when you find it. Just think about it for a second, focus on it for as much as you can, have that burning desire, but let it go to let it find you at the right time. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's I guess, that's sort of in alignment or congruent with our philosophy about flowing with life. If you are resisting and you're trying to snap something, that is not flowing with what Bianca's saying. It's not flowing with life. So we're just saying, just try and move with a natural course of where you're meant to be. Do you know what I mean? And sometimes you got to move. Sometimes you got to sit and think. we haven't got all of the answers. We don't know all of the situations. We're just saying we've been in a couple. This is how our outlook has been, and we are optimistic about where this could lead for everyone.
Yep. All right. Enough from us. That's enough.
Yeah.
Don't forget to take a snap showing us that you've watched us tonight. You can put your robes on like mine if you like for a bit of fun. Tag at Bianca_the Feel Good Mama with one of your takeaways from tonight to be in our May competition to win an amazing, amazing prize. We can't wait to draw it. We've already got a handful of competitors, so you can actually, if you played last week, you can play again this week because it's one photo per episode, so one entry per episode. We'd love to see you. We hope you have a fantastic week. Can't wait to hear some of your feedback, and we're sending you lots and lots of love. Oh wait, I forgot to read my quote out.
Okay, read
it.
Read
Wait.
It's a good quote.
Thing.
It's a good quote.
Told you we're crazy. I'll leave you with this now that I've said all those wonderful things. This is from a book called The Path Made Clear. Oprah, love her. Goldie Hawn. Let's hear from her. It's a great thing to be recognised for something that you've done, but it's a moment in time. You can't live off those accolades and make them the sum total of your importance in life or your purpose in life. You can't let them define who you are. Those awards, they're wonderful, but they're never going to define you. I define myself by my ability to give. I define myself by my ability to understand. I define myself by my ethics and my truth. These are the things that inform who I am, other than exterior moments that ebb and flow. Let's just leave it there. Love you guys. Bye.